Hello guys, and welcome to another tutorial. My name is Juan from Dork Entertainment, and today I'm going to show you how to make a movie poster. So let's get started. Alright guys, to start with this tutorial, we want to go ahead and make a new file. Now it's very critical that you guys make sure that the width, the height, resolution, it's all what you want. Especially if it's for print, like I've printed out mine. Now, since I did print mine out, I wanted to make sure that it was a poster size that everybody kind of knew that it's like the regular size poster. So what I'm going to do is change this to inches, and I definitely don't want it 7 inches because that's going to be way too small. So what I'm going to do is change the width to 24 and the height to 36. Now the resolution is also another important factor into this, especially if you're printing. We want to set this at 300. This is pixels per inch. If you don't set that and you do decide to print it out, it's going to come out all blurry, and just resizing the whole image itself is going to be a mess. We can go ahead and name this poster. Alright, we got the size for it. Now we're going to start bringing in the pictures. So we want to open, and let me go back, video and photo shoot. And we just took a lot of pictures in this photo shoot. Like this was a picture that we were going to use but didn't decide. There's more pictures of the actors, and really when we did this photo shoot, it was a rainy, wet day, and I just wanted to hurry up, get it done, and there's just a lot of stuff that I wanted to do because it was a long day to shoot and I just wanted to get it done. So out of all those pictures, I decided to go ahead and use this one. I'm going to go ahead and just open up the JPEG file instead of the RAW file. And basically the first step into this is cutting Frank, is his name, out from the white. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use the lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, which will you have to do it manually throughout the whole body. There is the magnetic lasso tool, which is kind of a little easier. You just click and you can run it and trace. And I'm not going to do the hair yet because I don't want to trace that out. So we trace him out, and this is actually doing a pretty good job. And I'm not going to worry about this too much right here, right now. Alright, so we got him roughly, if you want to say, traced out. I'm not going to do it all perfect because it does take a lot of time, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So I'm going to switch back to the polygonal tool, and I'm just going to trace around his hair, but not fully going around his hair, because if you've done cutting like this before in Photoshop, and even in the new Photoshop CC 2014, it's still difficult to cut around hair. You can't just simply grab the tool and go by every hair string and it's going to come out perfect. Now we can go to the Refine Edge tool. And what this is going to do is going to refine the hair. I'm just going to go ahead and turn Smart Radius on. And Let's make this a little bit bigger and zoom in a little bit. Alright, that's a little bit too much. And I'm just going to go on the side of the hair, just on the edge. And you can already see that it's working, it's magic, and it's pretty good at doing its job. And we want to do the rest. Alright, and we got some right here, some white. You can still see some white. Alright, we can see that it's messed up a little bit here, but this is just the hair. So the way you can fix some of this if you don't like it, there's some tools here where you can smooth it out. You can put some feathering on it. That way it's not sharpened on the edges and it just doesn't look good. You can also put some contrast on it. And, you know, it's going to be different for whatever you're doing, you know, whatever you like, whatever best fits your picture, it's going to be for you. So the output, you know, it really depends on what you want, but what I like to do is make it a new layer. And what it's going to do is going to basically make it its own layer. And we know that it, you know, he's a little bit messed up because basically this whole thing was just cutting him out, and that's pretty straightforward, just cutting out the object that you are going to be using. So we're not going to be using this image, so I'm going to go ahead and open an image. It's the same image, just that he's cut out the proper way. Let's go to poster and Frank Raw, and this is him cut out nice and neat. Same thing. The only difference between the other picture is he is cut out nicely. Now, the next step into this is fixing the picture up. Now, if you don't like the way something looks, if there's, you know, whatever that's wrong with the picture is what you want to do before you start adding any effects, any filters, any contrast, any blushes, anything. And this is where this tool comes in, the spot healing brush. I use this tool a lot, and you know, you can get a lot away with this. Now, I don't really have anything that I want to fix up. Like you know, there's blood, there's a hole in his shirt, there's dirt on him, you know, spots on him, spots on the pants. I don't really need to fix anything up, but I'll just show you what you can do. Like, say if I didn't want this hole here, all I gotta do is simply click right there, and that hole's gone. There's a few dots here. Basically what this tool does is it takes the surroundings around what you're doing, and it's placing them in its place. Now you have to be careful with this, because if you're using this tool between two different very different colors, what it's going to do is it's just going to mess the image up. For example, like what I just did, if you look closely, the shirt looks like it just messed up, or on the eye, wherever. But that's the next step, is just fixing the image up and making it what you want it to before you start adding any filters or any effects or anything. And I like the way this looks. I don't really need to fix anything or advance anything, so I like the way it looks. The next step will be to go ahead and duplicate the layer, and you can go ahead and just hide this layer for right now. And what we're going to do on this layer is start adding what movie posters have, and that's very vivid color and contrast, and it just looks very entertaining to look at. It just looks awesome. So you see, you have this regular image. You know, it looks plain. It looks not very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some contrast. And yes, you can go up to image adjustments, brightness, contrast, but we're going to do this different. So what we want to do is we want to focus on the copy. Alright, we want to go to image adjustments, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn the image black and white. Alright, next step will be to go to adjustments again, and we're going to invert the image. Now the reason for this will be because we're going to be focusing on the blacks, which will cast the shadows of the contrast that we'll be making. So we'll go to image, adjustments, levels. Now what you want to do in this step is you want to create shadows. So we want to bring the shadows up, and you see that the image is getting darker. This means that there's going to be more contrast. There's going to be more shadows in the image. Now you don't want to go crazy with this, and you can play around with it as much as you want. But just know that blacks are dark colors, and you know, the lighter it is, the less contrast it's going to be. So I don't have specific numbers that I put in. I just kind of play around with it just to see what I like. And that looks pretty good. Once I get done, I'm going to go back and I'm going to re-invert this, and it looks very bright. The next step is to go ahead and turn your regular layer on, and we're going to change the layer style. We're going to go ahead and change this to multiply. And you can already see that it already has a big difference. It looks more better than the regular image. There's more contrast. It looks more evil and monstrous and awesome, and that's what you're trying to go for, especially for a movie like this. Alright, so the picture looks good already, but we want to take a step further. What we're going to do is not create mask. Let me step back. We want to create 2 new layers, and you can simply just name this white and black. And the reason for that is because we're going to add more brightness and more shadows to the picture. And by doing this is going to make the picture more appealing to look at. So we want to go ahead and focus on the white. So we're going to grab our brush, and we're going to set the hardness to 0, and the size will vary on what you're touching up. We want to turn the opacity to about 15 and the flow about 20. And basically what we're going to do is the bright spots we're going to touch up. So for example, right here, we want it to make it a little bit brighter. It's dark already, but some spots we're just going to make it a little bit more brighter than what it is. And this doesn't have to be the whole body. You want to do this in little spots, in little areas of the body or the picture that you're doing. So we got the white set. Now if I turn off this layer, you can tell that it looks more better already. Gives it more, it looks more appealing. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with black. And I want to go ahead and just do the flow of 15 for this one. Just turn it down a bit. And we can see on this body that there's a lot of shadows that we could do. A lot of dark spots already. And what we're going to do is just make them darker. Almost like he's got a lot of dirt on him. I mean, he's got a lot of dirt on him already. Blood. If you want to make that stand out, darken it up. You know, this arm looks dark already. Like really dark. And just go around the shirt. Especially like the blood. This right here in the middle. Darken that up. And his chest right here. His dirty chest. All the dirt spots. Let's go ahead and just zoom up on the face and the shadows. Shadows in the ears. I'm going to make dark. All the shadows that you see. Ears, nose, creases, on the hair, hairline, the eyes. Make the eyes a little bit dark because we don't want to see really the eyes. Now if we turn off the black effect, you can see what we added. And now we compare this picture to this picture. It makes it look very, very different and way more appealing. Especially since it's going on a movie poster. Alright. So, once you get done editing your image, you don't want to add no color correction unless you're fixing up the image before you add it to the poster. But we are going to be adding some more shadows and some more filters on the poster itself. But with this picture, it looks good already. So we're going to go ahead and select it all. And we want to copy merge. Because we want to copy everything. And we want to bring it to our poster. Now you can see that our image is smaller than our poster. So what we want to do is just bring it up. Whatever size you want it. Okay, so we have our main object in the poster already. So next, we're just going to go ahead and shut him off, and we need a background. Now this background can be whatever you want, whatever you're using the background for, it's up to you. For this poster, I decided to go with a picture of the woods that we shot. And it wasn't nothing fancy or anything, it's just a regular image. And I believe it was this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and open the JPEG. And we're not going to do no editing to it. Again, if you want to fix the picture up, say there's spots you don't like, there's something you need to get rid of, whatever you don't want, go ahead and fix that up. But I don't need to fix anything up with this, so I'm just going to go ahead and select it all and copy, because I'll be adding filters to it once we get everything in together. Now I'm going to go ahead and expand this, and since I have some black at the top, I don't want that, so we want to expand it to cover up our poster. That looks good. Now, what I did for the other branches and bushes, I Googled PNG branches and trees, and I found a lot of different bushes and trees that we could use. Alright, we're going to go ahead and file open, and what we want to do is find those assets that we have, and I have mine in the poster folder and tree bushes, and I believe that I used 3. I might have only used 2, but I'm not for sure. And it looks like that one has a white background. These ones have nothing. Okay, this one I used a lot. This is the main one, the main branch right here. This one I think I used a few times, and this one only once. So what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and select it all, and we can just copy and go ahead and paste it. And I know that it's like really small, and it might bring some of the resolution down, but really I'd use this and it did not bring much of it down. It still looked good as is. So we're going to resize the picture, and basically what we're going to do for this poster is make it look like he's in the woods, but still showing a lot of his body, but we want it to make him kind of hidden. And we'll go back to our main bush that I've used a lot. So we're going to go ahead and copy and paste it. Now what we want to do is basically just kind of make it look like bushes are all around him. And what I did right there was copy, duplicate the layer, and just change the angle of it. Now, since the chain is quite a bit of factor in the poster, I don't want to hide a lot. So I don't want to cover it up a lot. So what we're going to do is just keep resizing and keep rotating it, especially on the corners of the poster. And what I also wanted to do for this poster was hide quite a bit of the hair, because as you can see, the hair is not 100% what I like it to be. I know there are ways to fix that, but for this poster, it was good because I could get the branches and hide them, hide the hair. So just going to each corner, kind of resizing them so it doesn't look like it's all the same. And let's copy it again, turn it this way, and put it over the arm. And another one right here. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And I want it to be right here in the middle. But as you can see, if you look closely, there's a hard line right here. And I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is add a mask. And I'm going to switch my bucket to a gradient tool. And we're going to make this black. And what this is going to do is kind of erase it. And you can do this also by the erase tool. What you want to do is just get the sides, and what it's going to do is basically just going to erase that hard line. And you can also do this, like I said, get the erase tool, turn down the opacity and flow, and just rub it against the edge, and it's going to make it disappear. And basically you just want all this to blend in with each other. You want to make it look like it's just one big old picture. Let's go ahead and duplicate that one. I don't want to duplicate the one we just did because it has that mask on it. Alright, and then we have the bottom due. So you take this one, change the rotation, the size. Alright, that looks good. Okay, so for this image, where is it? Right here. There's a lot of little tiny spots to get the white out. So you could do this by taking the magic erase tool and simply just clicking, and what it's going to do is take a majority of the white out. Now, going through the image and clicking is a hassle. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and select it all. I'm going to copy. And like I said, I only used this image a few times because it didn't really have a good impact, and it didn't really seem like it needed to be in the picture itself. Multiply seems to work. It is a bit dark, darker than the rest, but you see why I didn't really use this image. I mean, it looks good on certain areas, but like I said, I only used this image a few times, so we'll go ahead and just put it right there. We'll just go down here and add a photo filter, and a green that we used was a dark green. And let's see, that looks like it looks alright. And we actually turned this down 30%, and you could kind of see that it's starting to blend with the picture of Frankie and the branches. So this one, orange, I believe we just stayed with this orange and just used 40% of it. And you can tell that the image already is starting to blend in. Go ahead and name that orange. And the first one was green. Make sure you name them because we don't need them to get mixed up. And you want to make sure that your filter is underneath everything. If you end up putting your filter, anything underneath another layer, all the layers that's underneath that filter will only be affected by the filter. So you want to make sure that it's on top of everything. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add a layer. And we can just call this black mask. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the sides dark. And by doing this, we'll just go to our gradient tool, and we're going to move the black to the right side. And if you really want to be perfect, to make sure this is in the center, go ahead and put your guidelines out. And what we're going to do is make sure that we're on the radial gradient, because that's what's going to give the effect. We will go ahead and just use that. That's fine, because what we're going to do is just expand it, and it'll make it look as if we already did it. So, you know, you do it any size and just expand it the way you want to. And the sides are looking a little bit too dark for me, so what I can do is just turn the opacity down a little bit, just to make it look dark on the sides, bright in the middle, and you got the whole deal. Next step will be to add the title. So what we want to do is turn this up about 100. It's probably going to be too small. Alright, the font that we used was True Lies, and I downloaded this from thefont.com. They have a bunch of free fonts that you can use, and especially in design, you want to make sure that you use the font that looks good, that looks like it fits. You don't want to use a bubble font with this. That'll just look terrible. So we're going to go ahead and put the title and make it white. I was expanding letters in my past project before I did this, so that's why it looked spread out. Just gonna put a 0 on this because we don't need to mess with that. Let's go ahead and put 250 on. Alright, that looks good. And next would be to enter all the text that you see on movie posters. I'm just going to go ahead and open the image that I had before, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it. I would type it up, but it's going to take some time to resize it all and add some words that I couldn't because of the font. Now this is the font that you would see on movie posters. Again, I downloaded this font for free on thefont.com, and it's free for use. So again, you want to make sure everything is nice and centered. Now the next step will be to add logos. Sometimes you might put the date, the ratings, all that good stuff, but for this poster, since I was printing it out, I didn't want to put coming in October, or I didn't really have a rating or anything, so I just decided to leave all that out. So what I did put was my 2 logos. I want to bring all this text up a little bit because it does look a little bit too close to the logos. Like I said, you can put in a date, your ratings, all that good stuff, but just a few things to remember. Make sure your title is nice, big, and bold. Make sure your wording below with all the credits are nice and centered. And if you decide to put your ratings, a date, logos, make sure all that information is not too close to the edge of the poster. It does take a lot of time. If you want something to look good, make sure you spend a lot of time on it. You do research, just learn, experiment, and just try it out. So that's going to do it for this tutorial. I hope that it helped you out on your project. If it did, go ahead and give this video a like. Don't forget to share with your friends and subscribe for more. This is Juan Herrera from Dork Entertainment, and have a great day.